Hello, my friends. Welcome to our awesome webinar today. Today we're going to be talking about a wonderful new course that we're going to be launching, and want to just give you an awesome introduction with this by playing a video by one of the instructors. His name is John Eakins. He lives in the state of Wisconsin, and he's going to give you a very clear picture of what is going on with this concept of being prepared for the future. And actually, you're going to have a brand new word thrown at you today that he's going to come up with that will help you understand that this is really quite serious. We'll answer all your questions, and if you have other questions, please feel free to email me. I'll give you my email right at the end of this webinar. So we'll go ahead and hear from John.
I'm sure that you've been to multiple emergency preparedness classes. You probably have your 72-hour kits ready for each member of your family, ready and waiting to go. Your food storage is complete. You have all the water you need and plenty of first aid supplies. Your car has at least a half a tank of gas at all times, and you have cash reserve on hand for at least 30 days. Congratulations, you are prepared. However, if you're like most people, your exposure to the real feel and carnage of a true disaster is limited to what you've seen on TV or what you've learned about during your training. There's a reason first responders train constantly and have ample mental health resources available to them. The reason is because real disasters are tough. You hear the word earthquake and you think of your emergency supply. I hear the word earthquake and I think about the families wondering how to get their emergency supply because their house has collapsed. It's sitting on top of it with several tons of rubble, or perhaps it's currently on fire. The bags of wheat are in the basement, but they're being flooded by the broken water line, and the water supply in the garage is gone because the fire melted the containers. Then there's the loss, a loved one, a child, someone you counted on, someone somewhere, and sometimes they're trapped right in front of you. Disasters of any kind, true emergencies, are difficult to process. You see, there are emergency preparedness skills, and then there are emergency response skills. And they are quite different. Emergency preparedness deals with kits, water, cash, food, and such. But emergency response skills include spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental survival skills. These 4 response skills are not trained in community classes. You can't find them together in the local library. In fact, in over 35 years, I've never seen them offered together until now. This is a very special program that offers you and your family the opportunity to learn the 4 emergency response skills in one course. If emergency preparedness is the car, then emergency response is the engine. I've seen it firsthand and time again all across the country. Good folks with all the emergency preparedness they need sitting in a pile of preparedness wondering what to do next because they don't train themselves in the 4 key emergency response skills. If you can't get your head, heart, body, and mind in the game to effectively use your preparedness supply, then you might as well not even have it. Learn these skills today and see what it feels like to be fully prepared. I hope you'll take advantage of this opportunity, and I hope to see you soon.
Isn't that an amazing video? Well, when it comes to being prepared, most people feel that things are the most important, just like John pointed out. The money in the bank, the food storage, the water storage, and so on. But there's a big however here. What if you're separated from your things? Or what if your things are squished because the house is up on them now and all you have is rubble? And ruin things. What are you going to do? I'm going to take you back to the year 1980. My dad and I were going to be taking a trip up to the top of American Fork Canyon above Tibble Fork Reservoir. And it was early in the spring. We took the truck up this dirt road above Tibble Fork, and we were the very first ones up there the entire year. No one had come up. We were going through snow drifts with the truck, and we got to the place we wanted to go. We pulled off the dirt road onto an old dirt road. You could see the tracks going through the grass and through the other side of this stream. And as we got to that stream, everything was looking normal. We were just planning on driving the truck right through the stream. As we drove through the stream, that old 1975 truck, it was 5 years old at this point, so it wasn't old, but that old Ford sunk right to the bottom of the cab, in the middle of that stream. I opened the door and the water was flowing right into the door. I was a little nervous because I knew, number one, we were a long ways away from any help. No one was up there at all on that mountain at that time. No one had been up there at all. We were the very first ones in that area. And so the only thing that I could think of at that point was to go back and literally get help from down below. My dad, he just sat there. I opened up the door. The water was running in the door. My dad just sat there. He was driving. He said, "Take your hat off." I said, "Okay." And he took his hat off, and I'd seen him do this many times in the past. He just said, "Let's have a prayer." And he just talked to Heavenly Father very calmly. He told him what was going on, told him where we were sitting, and he ended the prayer, put his hat back on, I put mine back on, and he just sat there, just quietly. And then he said, "Okay, let's get out. Let me tell you what we got to do." We got out. We both waded through the stream, got to the back of the truck, and he was leaning over the back of the truck giving me instructions, and he said, "See those two dead trees over there? I need you to knock the branches off and drag them over here, one on each side of the truck." I said, "Okay." And then he says, "Gather all the big rocks that you can, flat, round, whatever they are, and start putting them in the tracks behind the truck as we were going into the stream. Just put them right in those ruts and start doing that." And what he did was he reached in the back of the truck, grabbed a shovel that he had in the back, and started digging down below the bed and also down below the cab, a trench that would go from the back of the wheels in the front and the back of the wheels in the back, so that he could put those dead trees down in that trench. He then had me help him feed those trees underneath that truck through the back of both sets of wheels. Then we took chains that were in the back of Dad's truck. He was always prepared with things like that. And we chained those logs to the two back wheels, and it was a four-wheel drive. We chained those logs to the two front wheels, so we had a chain on each wheel. And then he jumped in that old Ford, started it right up, and he put it in reverse, of course, put it in four-wheel drive. We had to dig down and lock in the hubs. We hadn't even locked in the hubs. And he backed up. And as he backed up on top of those two big logs, the truck literally was way out of the water compared to what it was before. It was still sunk down into the mud a little bit, but nowhere near what it was before. And he said, "Now gather all of the rocks that you can and put it behind the log on the front and the log on the back. Make sure that you just fill that trench as much as you can." We did. I did that. He held it in place with the brakes. And then he gently eased it onto those rocks off of those logs. And I was very impressed. The truck was much more out of the water, but he couldn't get it to go any further because we had to unchain those logs. He unchained those logs and it still wouldn't go all the way. So we dug another trench behind the back of the front wheels and the back of the back wheels, put the two logs underneath the wheels, chained them on, raised it up again, filled everything with rocks, and unchained it. After we put it down on top of the rocks, we were way out of the water, and he just gently drove right out on the bank. After we were done, my dad said, "Take off your hat," and we took off our hat, and he said a prayer again and thanked Heavenly Father very kindly for his help. Now, that experience literally is the summation of everything that we're talking about in this course. That experience to me is literally the spiritual skills that you need to learn how to call upon the powers of heaven and receive personal direction at the time you need them. Okay? My dad was also prepared with some equipment that he needed in his vehicle. Okay? He had the preparedness supplies, if you will, to get him through that situation. My dad and I were I was 21 years old. My dad was in his 40s. Very good shape physically, both of us. We were both in good physical condition. My dad had excellent emotional skills. No problem at all. He was not ruffled by that experience. He was able to just back that old Ford up and not have any problem at all and get it out of there. He was very calm. And he was mentally tough. Last but not least, he had had all kinds of experiences, and I'd seen him all my life going through these experiences. We've been stuck on the side of a mountain, almost going over a cliff, and he knew exactly how to get that old Ford out of there. He knew exactly how to solve all kinds of problems that I'd seen. Transmission not going to the back of an engine that we were trying to get. We were down in the grease pit in his shop trying to get this transmission hooked to the back of an engine. He said, "Take off your hat." Sure enough, we did. He was able to get that done. He was not intimidated by circumstances that would cause most people to get anxiety. He had mental toughness. He knew exactly how to get organized, and he knew how to call upon the powers of heaven and solve the problem. That's amazing to me. That is so cool. And so that's what this is about, is to help you understand those 4 core skills that you need as emergency response skills. And just as John pointed out, now why in the wide world of sports do we need emergency response skills as far as spiritual is concerned? I'm going to introduce you to Camille Cornaby. Camille is a sweetheart, and she has had a life full of very rich and rewarding experiences, and a life full of very traumatic experiences. But because of her spiritual grounding, she's been able to get through all of that. She's going to introduce you to the class that she's going to be teaching.
We just went through an unbelievable year in 2020 because of COVID-19 shutting down the entire world. Many people felt extreme anxiety. This anxiety affected their relationship with others, and even more particularly, their spirituality and their relationship to God. We might want to call this a dry run for that which is ahead. For example, a few months ago, my son was in Georgia, and there was a tornado right behind him. He was in his car trying to outrun it, and fearing he could not, drove over to a building, ran as fast as he could into the building off the side of the road. There, a number of people were huddled in a small room. COVID didn't matter anymore. Survival was his priority. In traumatic situations, people respond differently. And there will be natural disasters, as in a fire, hurricane, tornado, earthquake, or flood. And the power is down. You can hear people screaming and crying. Or you are in a traumatic experience where something or someone has devastated you and your family emotionally. Again, you can hear loved ones crying uncontrollably. How did I feel in 2020? I had zero anxiety. Every day I felt joy and peace. And why did I? I felt like Heavenly Father was right there, directing me in all I did. I was able to strengthen many people who came to my home, who were struggling. I was able to help them feel peace and comfort, and learn how to turn to Heavenly Father in prayer and receive personal revelation. I have gone through many traumatic, horrible experiences in my life. Turning to Heavenly Father in prayer and receiving direction literally saved my life, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and my mental toughness. Before we can utilize the other skills in this course, we need to have developed our spiritual health skills, which will help direct the other skills. How are you going to be in those situations? Are you calm? Have you developed a relationship with God through prayer? And can you hear and follow promptings? Will you know what to do to help calm the raging storms that surely will come? In order to handle all that will be required of you physically, emotionally, and mentally, your spiritual health would need to be in such a way to be able to govern the rest. Your knowledge and connection to God comes first. In the 4 classes I will teach, you will learn how to pray more effectively and get answers. You will learn to follow through with the direction received in prayer. You will create a spiritual first aid kit by writing down what you have learned, and will continue to learn of your relationship to Jesus Christ and His power to heal. You will learn how to save your family and friends through the spiritual skills you have learned. I invite you to be a part of this amazing program. You are going to learn the skills necessary that will help you survive all that surely will come. I am Camille Cornaby, and I can hardly wait to be with you.
Isn't she a sweetheart? These are the skills that she's going to be teaching. I'll just review this with you real quick. The spiritual health skills, basically how to receive help from heaven. Praying, listening, and receiving impressions and promptings more effectively. Following through with those impressions and promptings. Literally taking action on what you're shown. Like my dad did in that story. He had a prayer. He was shown very quickly what to do. Boom, he did it. I followed his instructions. We were able to solve the problem. Preserving your true identity by recording meaningful experiences or creating your spiritual survival kit or your spiritual first aid kit, as Camille called it. And taking what you've learned and strengthening your family and friends. Let me tell you a little bit about Camille's background. She's a graduate of BYU. She's an artist and illustrator and art teacher for the past 32 years. She's the author of books, journals, and publications, presenter on numerous topics, family records and journal keeper for 57 years, if you can imagine that. She's a mother of 8 children, 5 boys and 3 girls. Grandmother of 30 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. Isn't that amazing? That is powerful. That's the real person that you're going to be hearing from, and I hope that you're excited about that. Now, why do we need emotional emergency response skills? I'm going to introduce you now to your next presenter. Her name is Emma McAdam, and she is a magnificent presenter on how your emotions, literally, you can learn to control your emotions so that you can get through very difficult situations. And she, just in this little short presentation, is going to give you that hope. And then I'll go over the exact classes she's going to be teaching, and you're going to be fired up by listening to Miss Emma. Here we go.
Have you ever noticed that when you get super emotional, your brain kind of falls out? That's because when we're highly emotional or when we're in a really stressed out situation, our brain kind of turns off the thinking part of our brain, the cortex, because it's triggering the fight, flight, freeze response. This is the brain's natural alerting, activating response to help you deal with stress and with danger, or what your brain perceives as danger. And while this response can be helpful in some situations, if you're in a crisis, you're really going to need to know how to calm yourself down, get centered, and get focused on the task at hand. And if you can learn the skills to do that, then you can help the people around you. You can keep yourself and your family safer. And you can even work through the regular day-to-day situations that stress you out with more grace and with more composure. And learning these skills can help you improve your overall mental health as well. So, hi, I'm Emma McAdam. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm also the creator of Therapy in a Nutshell. It's a YouTube channel where I teach mental health education in concise video format. And in the following couple of classes, you're going to learn some of the basic skills of how to improve your mental health, how to work through stress and anxiety, and how to communicate better and work better with other people. So I'm excited to work with you and walk with you as you learn these skills. Thank you for being here, and let's jump in. When you're in a crisis, you need to know a few basic skills so that you can work through a really stressful situation with, by taking the right steps. Now, when I was in college, I took this really interesting class. It was called Wilderness First Responder, and it was basically one step below an EMT, but designed to be used in wilderness settings where you don't have a lot of supplies, you don't have equipment, and you don't have an immediate access to a hospital. And I had this great professor, Jerry Jacks, and we would be sitting in class, we'd be learning about whatever. We'd be learning about how to clear the spine in case of a spine injury, or we'd be learning about, blood sugar disorders or whatever. And in the middle of class, all of a sudden, someone would come running in with their arm on fire. And we would all look around at each other and be like, I don't know what to do. And we just kind of freeze, right? We didn't know what to do. And then this person whose arm was on fire would be a pretend, a paper towel with alcohol on it. So they weren't actually burning, but they were a test from our professor to see what we would do. And we froze because we didn't know what to do. Then And other times he would have someone just like sitting in class doing their thing, and then all of a sudden he would have prepped them to start choking in class, and then we would have to jump up and help them in some way. But initially, when these crises came up, we all froze. We did not know what to do. But over time, during the course of this class, we learned how to overcome that freeze response and how to not panic, how to stay calm. And really, the way we learned to do this was first to learn the skills, like learn how do I respond to the situation? How do I respond to choking? Well, I stand up, I hold someone up, I do the Heimlich. How do I respond to a fire? I stand up, I throw something on their arm and I smother it, or I tackle them so they stop running around and then I smother it, right? So we learned first what to do in the case of crisis, and then second, we trained in that and we practiced what to do in case of a situation. So we knew in the back of our head what to do next, and we'd memorize these acronyms, right? It's like, oh, so if someone has a spine injury, you do this, this, and this, and this. And once we had trained in those things, then we're sitting in class and Jerry Jex would have some actor come running in with their arm on fire, and we'd jump up and we'd grab a coat and we'd tackle the guy and we'd put their arm out, and it was like no big deal, right? It didn't stress us out anymore. And that's because we first learned what to do, then we trained in how to do it, and then we just practiced it over and over again. And after that, it really wasn't that stressful to deal with these difficult situations. And you can learn to manage your stress too. You can learn to manage difficult situations, and you can learn to resolve these problems with resilience. And I hope in some of these other classes and in some of the other classes you've taken, you've started to learn these skills of how to face an emergency, and how to, what to do in the case of an earthquake, or what to do in the case of a fire, or what to do in the case of some kind of disaster. And in this course, what you're going to learn is how to deal with anxiety overall, and how to improve your mental health overall, so that you have strategies to calm your stress down, especially in your body, and face certain situations with less worry and less stress. So I'm excited to work with you, and let's jump in and learn a couple ways to work with stress and anxiety.
Isn't that awesome? I love Emma. She is just a fired up teacher, and I will just quickly tell you, whoops, let me just advance the slide. Let me just quickly go over the 4 classes that she'll be teaching. Number 1, you can improve your emotional health, and that is huge. Giving you the faith, the confidence, the fact that you can improve your emotional health. This is very important. A lot of people think the only thing they can do is take drugs. Those drugs are not going to be available. That time is coming to an end. And so you can learn some skills that will help you improve your emotional health, and also some self-care choices that you can make that will dramatically improve your emotional health. Learning how to get deep sleep. And of course, you're going to hear about that in the physical health part of this program. But that is huge as far as your mental health is concerned. The type of food that you need to eat and things like that. Rewiring your anxiety so that you can handle it. Literally, knowing how to calm yourself down and have those strategies. Communication skills that solve problems, and improving your relationships. All of these things are going to make a big difference. Again, this is Emma's background. She says, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I love helping people change. I know that understanding mental health can be confusing and stressful. I also know that there's hope. Your brain is wired to change and keep healing is possible, and deep healing is possible. My mission is to walk with people through this process. I don't just help people get feeling better. I help people get better at feeling. Isn't that interesting? One thing that you'll notice about her is she says that anxiety is there for a purpose. Depression is there for a purpose, and she will help you understand that having those experiences is literally important. We have those feelings so that we can learn from them. She says, I've been working in the field of change and growth since 2004. I got my master's degree in marriage and family therapy from Utah State University, and I'm currently licensed in the state of Utah. I've worked in settings like juvenile corrections, wilderness therapy programs, residential treatment centers, and outpatient therapy. That's a little background on Miss Emma. You're going to love her. She is the very best person I found in the entire nation to teach these skills of emotional health. You're going to love it. Now, what do we need for physical emergency response skills? This next lady, her name is Vivian Twitchell. She's in her 69th year. And she, I'm sure, could outrun me in a race or up the mountain. She is in amazing physical condition. And she's going to teach you how critically important it is to have a physical body that works very, very well. And you can imagine in an emergency situation, your physical health is going to be critical. It's going to be paramount, especially if you have a family that is depending on you for your strength, for your endurance, so that you can reach down and pick them up and that kind of thing. Those things are going to be critical, and she's going to help you understand that in this video. So we'll turn the time over to Vivian Twitchell.
Good early morning. My name is Vivian Twitchell, and I'm going to be guiding and challenging you as we learn about improving our physical health. We're going to focus on being hydrated and why, on eating smart and why, on building our strength and endurance and why, and learning how to get deep restorative sleep and why. Let me set the stage. The big earthquake has come. There is terrible destruction. You need to get your family moved out. You can't call 911. They won't answer. They are taking care of their own families. Ambulances aren't available even if you needed them. The roads and the overpasses are down. And I hope you already know that your doctor is not going to save you. In fact, no one is going to save you. You are your family's resource. They're relying on you and your health and your strength and your knowledge. Luckily, you've put a high priority on preparing for this, and your packs are in reach and you have what you need in them. But more importantly, you have what you need right here in your soul. With God's help, you've prepared yourselves, you and your family. You've made it fun, and you've been able to actually change habits. You've gotten your kids off the couch. You've made being active a high priority in your family. It was not easy, but they have come around. You've also seen profound difference from improving the family diet. That's probably been a big part of this. And you're grateful for the increased strength and endurance you've seen in your whole family. You're feeling better. You're sleeping better. You've had a lot of fun carrying the packs around town. And now, everybody is able to carry those fully loaded packs up steep hills and not even get winded. And you've realized something even better. Their moods have changed. Schoolwork seems easier. They seem more focused. They are happier. They're more grounded and stable. What a blessing. And what a great resource, personal resource for them and their future this is. Right now, your kids are scared. But your training has you ready to keep your cool and lead them. As you get everyone going, you reflect on how grateful you are to understand the importance of hydration and how to do it. And you're so glad you've learned those basic water purification techniques. You've accepted challenges like getting the kids off their devices, changing your family's sleep habits. You've got magnesium in each of the packs. Smart. And you've learned how to create melatonin to get restorative rest in this new experience of being out of their comfort zones. You've lived the skills from your classes and already see them paying off by improving your family's lives and health while in safety and abundance. But now you get to live those skills in this time of disaster. Thanks to all of your preparing and being willing to increase your health in so many areas. You are confident and you are ready. You got this. Come on, kids. We've prepared for this. Let's do this together.
Awesome video by Vivian. These are basically the 4 classes that she's going to be teaching for physical health skills, having vitality, strength, and endurance, to do as you want to when you want to. That is huge, okay? To have the strength to do as you want to when you want to is a blessing that I continue to have every day in my life. We're right now on the 27th of April. Tomorrow I'm taking a class that's going to last this week and next week to certify me as a ropes course instructor or a facilitator. I'm 63 years old. Why in the crud do you think I'm doing that? It's because I believe with all my heart that I'm going to need those skills in the future. It's going to make a huge difference for me, and that's why I'm doing it. And so taking the class from this awesome instructor, Miss Vivian, you're going to learn all about water and hydration. Not about Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Mountain Dew, your favorites, but about water and why it's so critical, how to purify it, and so on. Food. Let thy food be thy medicine, and let thy medicine be thy food. Yes, the food that you put in your body has a huge impact on your mental health and, of course, your physical health. And sleep, rejuvenation, and cleansing. How to get a deep, restorative sleep. She's going to teach you exactly how to get that done. And exercise, expanding energy to get energy. You're going to find out that you're going to lose weight during this time period that you're working with Miss Vivian, and it's going to rock your world. Now, just to give you a little background on Vivian, this is her at the very top of the mountain on the face of the Wasatch Front. This is just right near Lone Peak, not very far away from Snowbird and Alta Ski Resort. But Vivian describes herself as ever learning. She is a health and wellness coach, an advocate for taking charge of your own health, and loves teaching how and why this is vital for every one of us. She's full of gratitude to God. She's a lover of Mother Earth and takes our stewardship there very seriously. She's a natural teacher and has taught people of all ages in a variety of studies, from young children to environmental biology and higher education. Vivian is adventurous and loves the outdoors, which is her therapy. She loves gardening, especially is happy when getting deep into backcountry on cross-country skis or summiting a peak or canyoneering a slot canyon. She volunteered in the Boy Scouts for 25 years, training leaders and working with hundreds of 11 to 18-year-old young men. She is a proponent of fun and taking full advantage of the blessing of the moment. Vivian adores her family. She is a mother of 6, grandmother of 24, and has 1 darling great-granddaughter. Is that amazing or what? That is phenomenal to have someone that's going to teach you how to take charge of your health. She's a great-grandmother. She's in her 69th year, and she's not going to kick your butt by any means, but she's sure going to have a huge influence in your life, and I hope you're excited about working with Vivian, because it's going to make a big difference in your life and your family's life to learn from this awesome, fired up, and very in good shape great-grandmother. Now, why do we need mental toughness and emergency response skills? Well, your next presenter you already heard from at the very beginning of this video, John Eakins. John is going to help you understand literally why it's so critically important to have mental toughness in an emergency response situation. Here we go, John.
When disaster strikes and you find yourself standing at the beginning of the end of normal, it's time to survive. You've built your emergency preparedness kit, ran drills with your family, and read every book and watched every video on emergency preparedness. But are you ready to actually put that training into action and live on what you've learned? It's one thing to read in a book, but it's quite another to look at your family and tell them that it's go time. It's time to move. We need to put this training into gear. Maybe your home is burning or lies collapsed in a pile of rubble. Maybe your plans this year just vanished in a pandemic fog. Or worse yet, maybe you're doing this by yourself because someone you love didn't make it. No matter what the situation, there is one truth that is absolute. You're in it now, and there's no fast pass out. You can't wish it away, close your eyes, wake up, and have it be gone. The only option is through. And the only way through is by achieving a level of mental toughness so fierce and so focused that nothing will stand in your way. It's up to you to determine when you're going to call up your mental toughness skills and put them to work. Will it be immediately when you call, or are you going to sit and wait until after you've panicked and cried for a while? It's a simple fact. Your ability to master true mental toughness and do it quickly will determine what you do next in either your future long or very short life. If you have this gear of grit within you, then this course will help you focus it and use it for good. If mental toughness isn't part of your skill set, this course will help you find it, build it, adapt it, and make it part of your toolkit. Now we do this through a series of 4 evolutions, each with carefully planned out exercises that will help you learn the skills you need to develop and focus your mental toughness. This isn't a class on emergency preparedness, folks. This is a class on emergency response and building one of the 4 critical skills you need to effectively respond during an emergency. I hope you'll join me for this very special program and give yourself the life-saving power of mental toughness. We'll see you soon.
Don't you love John? What a fired up teacher. These are the 4 classes he's teaching. Evolution 1, get into it. If you can't get out of it, get into it. Accepting the reality of your situation requires more than a deep breath. It takes grit, and you develop grit by developing mental toughness. Evolution 2, situational awareness. Mental toughness requires clarity, and clarity is best achieved with careful and consistent inventory management of the mind, the body, and the world around you. Evolution number 3, keep going. Emergency warriors have ice in their veins, gravel in their gut, and love in their hearts, and hope at all times. They don't give up ever, and that is exactly what is required to survive. Evolution number 4 is helping others. Once you build up a lasting supply of mental toughness in your life, you can make it even stronger by helping others, sharing what you know, and continuing to learn. Isn't that awesome? Let me just give you a little background, and this is just John's emergency response background. He has a huge background. He's been a CEO. He's been a national trainer. He has done huge amounts of work in different areas, but look at this background. I started my rescue career at age 8 riding with his U.S. Forest Ranger father on horseback, rescuing dozens of stranded hikers on Mount Timpanogos, usually at night. And that was Mount Timpanogos that goes clear up to 11,752 feet. He's a trainer instructor in the following areas: mountain rescue and wilderness survival, CERT and CERT train the trainer instructor, scene management, arrest control instructor, self-defense instructor, advanced emergency preparedness and family emergency preparedness. He's an EMT, paramedic, and diabetes response instructor, family home fire instructor, corporate emergency response instructor and crew, and synergy and communications fire instructor. Every one of those are huge when it comes to emergency response. He has a background in law enforcement and the U.S. Forest Service Wilderness Fire, and also 911 Terminal Agency Coordinator. Isn't that amazing? Now, that's your 4 courses that you're going to be learning from these awesome teachers. This all sounds amazing, Ray, but how much does it cost? And let me just ask you this question. Would it be worth it to save just one member of your family because what you're able to learn from this amazing course? Well, yeah, that it would be worth the investment to do this, and I'll answer your question in just a second about how much it costs. Each instructor will be teaching 4 specific emergency response skills. That is a total of 16 skills. All 16 skills will consist of 6 pre-recorded videos to help you and your family learn and master those skills. So Camille will have 24 videos. Vivian will have 24 videos. Emma will have 24 videos, and John will have 24 videos, or a total of 96 videos. That blows my mind. That's a lot of videos. You don't go through those all in one day. You'll go through those, of course, a day at a time, and it'll feel very natural and normal. We'll feed them to you slowly so it doesn't overwhelm you. When you enroll in this online course, you will have access to it for 6 months. Literally everything is available online. If you took the course from these amazing instructors each, you'd pay them about $2,000 each. Camille, you'd pay $1,997. Vivian, $1,997. Emma, $1,997. And John, $1,997. Together, That is $7,988. That's a lot of money. And you're thinking, well, I really need this, but I can afford $8,000. I understand. But let me ask you this. Would it be worth just to save one member of your family if you learned just one skill of the 16 skills you're going to be taught to save their life? Wouldn't that be an amazing thing? Now, if you enroll today, you'll have all this awesome training for only the pre-sale price. It will be $297. That'll be our final price that we'll offer it. But it is going to be our pre-sale price, and that is literally going up every single week. And so I would encourage you to go to planandpreparenow.com, and you'll be able to see the price that is being offered for this week. The final price will be $297. We encourage you to take action now. Now, when will it start? On Monday, June the 7th. And again, I would not wait until Monday, June the 7th to make this purchase. It's going to make a huge difference in your life. It's going to make a difference in how you interact with your family. We're going to teach you some amazing skills of how to handle stress in so many different ways, and it's going to be awesome. Now, how much time will it take? You can do it in as little as 33 days. However, we suggest 4 months. A month for each topic: the spiritual health, the emotional health, physical health, and mental toughness health. We really encourage you to plan on 4 months to do that. I know it's an online course, but can I get a printed copy of the videos in the course? Yes, we know most of our customers want their own copy in their own hands. We will have that ready to purchase about mid-July, and we will let you know the costs of that when it's available. And again, if you enroll today, you'll have all of this for only, no, not the $297, but the pre-sale price. And again, the pre-sale price goes up every single week. So take advantage of that, folks, and we are honored that you have listened. We hope that you will join us, because we know that this program is going to make a huge difference in your life. If you have any questions that I haven't answered in this video, please email me at ray@planandpreparenow.com. That is ray@planandpreparenow.com. Have a great day.